Beep boop beep boop beep boop ba boop. Beep bop boop beep boop beep boop boop beep 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 boop bop boop beep boop boop. You're in the beep boop bopping.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Yeah, that's like how people recently on the internet have been appropriating the word clanker from Star Wars as like a slur against robots.
Why was that an Andor or something?
No, it kind of started with like, I think it really was popularized with the Battlefront games, like the OG ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the video games?
Like the clones would be like clanker.
Oh, Battlefront.
Like after
you said
like,
Battlefield.
Did I say Battlefield?
Yeah.
Battlefront.
I was like
Star Wars
Battlefield
Battlefront.
games. What?
Yeah,
like
no, sorry.
no, that makes
Battlefront.
sense though. I mean, EA does both now,
Yeah.
so it's kind of you get them confused a little bit. But anyway, we're not here to talk about
not
that sort of stuff today. We're here to actually talk about something pretty much exactly the opposite. This is Spoiled It, where we give a spoiler-free review at the beginning, and then at the very end, with warning, we go into Spoiled It territory, where we spoil the movie, we go in the spoilers. It's usually about a 50-50, so about half this video is probably going to be a spoiler-free, half of it's going to be spoilers. But yeah, we will give warning. I'm Leon, the host, and this is my co-host for today, Dan.
Hello.
Who is returning from... Usually he's reviewing Marvel things here.
I was going to say, I think this is one of the first I've done with you guys
Yeah.
that I've seen
Yep.
and wasn't a superhero
Because you were there
flick.
for 28 years later, too.
Yes, but I didn't actually see that, and unfortunately I still haven't. I got to get on that.
Oh,
but
it's so good. I don't think it's in theaters anymore, but it's on streaming now. And this movie that we saw today, we actually saw late, F1, but it's back in IMAX right now. I think
for
it's
like 1 weekend.
playing till what's next Thursday? 21st or something, right?
Yeah.
August 21st, 2025. It's playing till around then. In IMAX theaters again. Our theaters near us only had like about one showing a day, so there's not many showings. But right off the bat, I will say I've seen this movie already. I actually saw it at a drive-in when it originally came out, like maybe.
Oh, I didn't know you did it drive-in.
Yeah,
When you saw it
I
the
saw
first
it at
time.
the
I thought you saw it to
drive-in.
Regal. That's
It's kind of
cool.
perfect for this movie too.
Yeah, honestly.
Like literally fucking movie about cars, and we saw it at the drive-in. But it was a Superman, which I had already seen, and then F1 was the second feature. And I was like, I don't really care too much for these racing films. Like I like Brad Pitt, but like I just don't
Kinda
have
all
much
samey.
interest in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I didn't see Need for Speed, I didn't see Gran Turismo. It just looked like one of those. You know what I mean? So didn't have any interest in this, but I was hearing really good reviews with this as opposed to those films we just mentioned.
See, the fact that he's seen it twice was subtle foreshadowing.
Yes. And it's got Brad Pitt, of course, but it's also the director of Top Gun Maverick, Joseph Kosinski, I believe is
and
his name.
Hans Zimmer doing the
Yeah,
score.
Joseph Kosinski. So I was right the first time I said it. But he was the writer and director on this. Hans Zimmer, who everyone knows, is the Dark Knight films and everything. Frequent Christopher Nolan
Javier
collaborator. We got Javier Bardem in the cast here. Kerry Condon and Damson Idris, who are in more TV stuff.
Yeah.
Like Kerry Condon's Mike's daughter in Better Call Saul and
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. And then Damson Idris from a show Snowfall, I believe, on FX.
Yeah.
I think
I've
that's
never
like
seen
where
it.
I think that's his main kind of claim to fame. But I thought the cast was really good here actually. I think that I will say right off the bat even though I've seen this movie twice, it's got flaws. It's a very formulaic movie,
Oh,
like
yeah,
no
big
pun
time.
intended.
Yeah.
Formula 1, but like it's formulaic. It pretty much follows all the beats that you think it's going to follow.
Almost one for one.
One for one, basically.
I was turning towards Leon in the theater and like making predictions
But like, did you find
every
that?
time. Like almost every scene that there was going to be something, I would turn to Leon and be like, guarantee you it's going to be blah 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 blah, calling it right now. And then like
Yeah.
a minute or two later, that would be exactly what happened. It was my first time seeing it, so
And that was the same with me. Like when I saw it for the first time.
if you've seen films, if you're pretty well acquainted with the general structure
Mm.
of films and and the idea of cause and effect and how like point A to point B and how you get there, and like you could start kind of seeing the patterns in certain films. You can definitely see them in this one.
So
like,
why do you think it is that like even though this is like extremely formulaic and that's usually a very like a negative from us, but that like is actually almost like works to this movie's advantage?
Because I think you're going into this film kind of with the understanding that you're not really looking to be like blown out of the water by the composition of it,
Okay.
and by the emotional depth of the story.
Okay.
I don't think that's what you're coming here for. Like when I went in to see it, and when we had this conversation beforehand, because you know, like Haley didn't really like it as much.
Yo.
And then I remember you telling me like, because I am an F1 fan.
Well, she liked it, but not enough to see it a second time.
That's what I mean, yeah.
So I guess that, like, maybe that formulaic stuff. Because she did, after we saw it, she liked it. She listened to the soundtrack. So, like, I feel like that's positive things from a movie where, like, it sticks with you a little bit. But, like...
Not wanting to see it twice, though.
Yes, and I think that's because of this formulaic aspect we're talking about. Or just maybe...
Not that I think seeing a film twice in theaters has to be the metric for it being good. I've seen plenty of good films that I only saw once.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, that was the case with me with, like, literally the movies this summer. Like, especially now that we review stuff, too. But like, I just don't have time to see a movie a second time.
Not going out of your way to see a movie a second time versus having someone ask you if you want to go see it with them and not seeing it again is indicative that maybe you had enough reservations that you're like, nah, the once was good. Because then, like, contrast that with Weapons, where Haley enthusiastically told me that she would go again to see it.
And Marty.
If I ever wanted to go see it, because I didn't go with them the night they went. So that's indicative that Weapons was to her way, way better than F1 was. And I understand that, and that's why we talked, and you thought, like, you know, when Leon was talking to me about going to see this with him in IMAX, because you knew it was coming out.
Because he's never seen this.
Yeah, I never saw it when it was had its original theatrical run.
Yeah.
Also, because, like you explained, it was the middle of summer, and I didn't have the time. It was competing with other films I wanted to see.
I think that worked to this film's advantage and disadvantage. Like, because it's almost like the problem we've talked about with some movies when they release, like, late in the summer, like around right now, where, like, everyone's seen all the movies they want to see for the summer, and that's why stuff like Solo failed and everything. This had the advantage of being at the very start of the summer, basically. So, or pretty much, like it was early June, I believe it came out. I usually have the release date on here.
Just to kind of refocus on the question you asked me first.
It was early June, though.
To refocus on the question you asked me first, I was equating the fact that, like, I think, especially if you're a F1 fan or even just a fan of cars at all, and the engineering of cars, it's a really freaking cool film. They go pretty in depth. There was a lot of stuff that I was turning to Leon and, like, being like,
because I don't watch
like,
F1. I don't watch Formula 1, and, like, you do, and, like, even though I had seen the movie already, and this was your first time doing it, you were actually, like, explaining, like, certain things, like the strategy, which, like, I kind of
and everything.
You can kind of almost infer, even though there's a lot of jargon in this movie and, like, shit that they do, but, like, that made it was cool for him to tell me, though, because it was like, oh, this is actually, like, kind of based in reality. Like,
it is. They did a lot of research.
That's the thing I didn't know about this was whether or not, like,
I think the FIA worked directly with them to make it.
Really?
It's kind of. I believe so. I believe it.
They had so many people.
They had actual
too.
racers and figures and coaches and owners and stuff, like, actually in the film. Sometimes as characters as well. Like, that's the other thing, is they weren't just, like, cameo appearances. Like, they were actually involved in the story. So
mainly during the racing scenes, though, but that's what you would expect.
Exactly. Yeah. In that sense, this movie's much like Top Gun Maverick. Ironic that the guy who directed this too, and that it's just a giant advertisement for F1. Is essentially what it is. But
kind of like that was for the military.
Yeah. But this is, I mean, just a good film detached from even that. Like, if this was just a generic racing film without all the F1 glaze, it would still be really enjoyable, I think. They did a lot of.
That's mainly because of the, like, characters.
Yeah, they're actually, like, decent. They have, like, decent chemistry.
Or maybe it is the characters, because, like, I think, like, the writing, like, I don't know if, I guess it could be better, but it's not bad. It's actually even good, I would say, because, like, you do get endeared to the characters. but I wonder how much of that was also because of like these actors. Like I
Right.
feel like most of the stuff we've seen Brad Pitt in recently, despite like possibly some sketch shit he's doing in real life that like there's controversy about. In the movies I've seen him in, like Once Upon a Time and everything, I'm like, love him in these movies. Like
Yes.
he's a blast to watch. Like I don't know what it is about it, but like, and he's kind of playing a similar character in a lot of these movies too. Like this is basically a Cliff Booth sort of
Didn't
character.
Didn't
But like
this
almost,
become,
this is like more of like a heroic Cliff Booth, basically.
Yes. Didn't this become his highest grossing film of all
Yep.
time?
Yeah.
I remember hearing that, and it didn't even really make that much. Like I just for some reason thought Brad Pitt was a way bigger box office draw,
Then I guess he actually
but
is.
he's not.
Yeah.
Like he's really not. He's not like a super bankable Hollywood star. At least that's what the numbers would say, which is really interesting to me because I just kind of he's
Which
been
is
such
crazy because
he's
out
been
of all
considered
those,
like an A-list actor. For
oh no, he
decades now.
has. And out of those sort of people like George Clooney and like stuff like that, I do like him like the best out of like any of those sort of people from that era and
That are
everything.
just, like,
If you
the
know what I mean, that have
bankable
kind of been
action
around
stars,
for a
yeah.
while and everything. I think he's got like a lot of range, despite recently playing like these very similar roles. And even though that's usually like getting typecast is usually a negative thing to me with these sort of movies, it was actually like I said, here it's just
Yeah.
entertaining to watch, like him play that sort of
Compare
character.
that to Leo DiCaprio, who like pretty much every movie he's in
Yeah,
makes
plays a different
bank.
character too.
And plays a
though.
different character, yeah. Yeah, Leo's much more of a chameleon. Brad
He
definitely
is.
has a niche. Like Brad's characters kind of all have some pretty similar overlap.
They're
Like
always kind of like a badass or like kind of like
Yeah.
a fucking like
except
bad
for
boy or something.
did you ever see Burn After Reading?
No, is he like a dumbass kind of?
Yeah,
in that?
he plays a
I've
himbo, dude.
I've
It's-
seen
it's actually kinda
clips from
great.
it. Yeah,
It's actually kind of great. And that's also why I liked his character in Bullet Train because that was also against the grain of the kind of character he usually plays.
yeah, I like that movie too.
And he does well in both those roles. Like he does really well portraying something outside of his norm, but he does have a niche, and this is kind of just like a classic Brad Pitt character.
Yes,
Like they even like one of the other characters even like jokingly calls him a cowboy at one point. He kind of just gives off those vibes. Like he has
it's like a
this,
modern day kind of cowboy story where like
right.
from what we
No, it
understand,
really is.
he's been like through all these different sort of gigs. Like he was a taxi driver.
No, you're so
in New
fucking
York
right. It
And stuff.
is,
So
dude.
like
It's
he's a
like-
traveling, like
Dude, it's like
gunslinger,
it's like
basically.
Yojimbo.
yeah.
It was Yojimbo because you know Clint Eastwood films, older Clint Eastwood
Mhm.
films, like for a few dollars more.
Yep.
That was like the original of the, or for a fistful of
Dollars
dollars.
trilogy.
That was the original for a fistful of dollars. That was the first one,
Yep.
and that one was essentially just a Western retelling of an older Japanese film called Yojimbo, which means bodyguard. But the plot structure of a traveling older guy coming to this village that is that is in trouble in some way, and
Yeah.
he first resists helping them, but then eventually decides to help them, and then just
Yeah.
leaves. Like that is
And
like
it's such a basic story beat, and that's basically what they do here. But like, it just works.
in an
Like,
F1 setting. Yeah, I didn't
like-
even think about that.
I don't know. Like, sometimes like that's just like a story can be simple and everything. It's like how I think what happens with a movie is how much you decide to like stick to what your like vision was.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
and I think this did that pretty well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Where
like,
like
they
they knew it
executed.
was simple, like kind of like those Nobody films too, like with Bob Odenkirk.
Oh, or the
like
simplest premises ever.
exactly, and they're 90 minutes, and they're like, this is gonna be a fun action movie. You're gonna laugh at this and stuff like that
Yep.
too. You know what I mean? Like it's relatable and then everything because like he kind of has like the mundane, normal, regular, everyday life.
You mentioned the runtime, and that's actually where I have a pretty interesting take on this film.
Really,
I think it's weird. At some points,
it was 2 hours and 35 minutes.
the pacing felt to me kind of all over the place. But then, also at the same time, I kind of didn't care because what they were taking extra time to show you were just they had a lot of just slow motion shots of cars on the track, of cars going around the track,
Yeah.
of POV from the inside of the cabin of the cars, like close-ups of the
They
wheel.
put you on like the
But-
front of the car.
Yeah,
basically,
and you
where,
can
like,
tell that it's like there is some CG in this film, but a lot of the racing was done practically and filmed practically,
Yo,
and you can tell. And they have like the stabilization cams they can throw on the side of the car to get the wheel shots, and I know they did that a couple times.
I never
So-
noticed CG here, but I'm sure you're right. Like it was
Well, like
definitely
the cars
used.
flipping and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like, That's how good it was. Is that I didn't notice.
Yeah, it's
it
not
at
it's
any
not
point.
obtuse at all. There's only like a couple shots that are kind of obviously visual effects, but then they look so good that you don't care. They still had
Yo.
tension.
You're not looking at it like this is corny and looks like PS2 graphics. Like,
Exactly,
What the fuck
yeah.
is this? Like, it just seems like it could, with how practical most of this film is, like it could be real. But you're like, but obviously they didn't kill that driver right there, and that probably would have killed them if they like did some crazy stunt like.
No,
that
I'm gonna
or
tell
something,
you.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you right now, like, this is so. I'll finish what I was saying before about like the pacing. They were devoting a lot of time to showing you just eye candy shots of the Formula One cars and just doing their thing and being Formula One cars.
Yeah.
Like you get some shots of like them braking hard on a corner and you see the brakes heat up and turn red. Because like F1 vehicle brakes get really fucking hot. That's why like you go through brakes really quickly over the course of the race. Yeah. Because they're going so fast. And they have so much friction because they have so much traction with the asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
So they showed all that stuff, and so even though the pacing felt a little off, at the same time I like didn't give a shit because it was just like I signed up for this. Like this was the coolest part of the movie for me was just like the cool up close shots of F1 cars working their magic because like the engineering that goes into those things is mind boggling.
Well, I think it was also the benefit of kind of like something like Superman or Fantastic Four where they really just threw you into it too and didn't try to like hold your hand. But like it was the sort of thing where like it was like almost overwhelming, but like in a good way, like where it just kind of wanted to make you like almost watch F1 or like look into F1 more,
and so
play a video game or something where you're like doing a driving thing like them.
That was the other thing you just said earlier, just a few minutes ago, that made me think of another thing I wanted to bring up, and that was, and I can talk about this one without spoiling it too, because it's just talking about the film as a whole.
Cool.
Is the fact that a couple times I turned to you, Leon, in the theater, and I said to you, like, oh, like, what you just saw might seem kind of contrived Hollywood magic bullshit.
Yes.
And then I had to, like, say, like, no, this has happened in real life actually more frequently than you'd think. Like, there's a couple situations in this movie, sometimes involving crashes and stuff, where somebody emerges and you're like, there's no way they were only that hurt. Dude.
But that's what they're built for and
F1
everything.
cars are so fucking safe. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like, these days, you can get into a fucking insane accident, like, insane, and emerge pretty much fine. Like, like you probably are going to be a little banged up. You might have, like, a headache. You might be sore. But, like...
But just soreness, basically.
It's just soreness. So, like, a few days of rest, and you'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Or, like, a sprain or something, maybe.
Yeah, like, they are insane. Like, they have this thing, you know, like, in the F1, like, cabin, you know that big fucking, like, pillar in the middle of it?
Yes.
And it went over the top.
Like the thing they were like using to grab onto when they like went in.
That's the halo.
Okay.
And it's called the halo because back in like the 80s and 90s when F1 was like really, really big. I mean, it's been big for longer, but like there was like Ayrton Senna who they bring up and like a couple other older racers were like super famous.
Okay.
The cars were not nearly as safe. A lot of people died back then in accidents. Ayrton Senna was one of them.
Fucking come up with something because they were like,
cars would roll and then the driver would get crushed.
Yeah,
that was the most dangerous thing that could happen because they had no protection. So they created the halo, which in a car that's like designed to fall apart, to decelerate if it ever gets into a crash. That's why they look like paper mache sometimes.
Yep.
This thing is like rigid as hell, so that if it rolls over, it's like a cage that keeps you from getting crushed against the ground, and it also makes it so if an F1 car's wheels ever come up on your hood, they don't go into the cockpit and kill you. They roll over the halo.
Okay.
So
it's got
and the halo is narrow enough that a wheel can go into it but not hit you.
Okay.
It'll be right above your head.
So it's like multi-use for like not fucking getting you killed, basically.
And them introducing that as well as like modern deceleration technology turns like it's actually quite rare for people to get seriously injured from high speed crashes in F1 now. Like the cars are so stupidly safe. So what you saw...
When was this supposed to be taking place?
Pretty modern.
Modern day,
Very modern, yeah. At least 2023.
But you said it was kind of based on, like, somewhat on, like, maybe real-life things, even though they, like, took their own liberties with the characters and everything?
I'd say it's less based on and more inspired by.
Okay.
things that have happened
that's
in
a
real
better
life.
way
And
to put it.
when we get into the spoilers, I can talk about something
Okay, because
specific.
otherwise that would kind of
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
going
the
into
specific
that
thing.
story would spoil this story a little bit.
Yeah, a little more, because I feel like we've already talked at length a lot about some
Yeah.
of the things in this. Like obviously there's some crashes.
No,
but,
that
I mean,
makes
That was
sense.
to be expected.
That makes sense. We can hold that.
But that would be a specific detail I want to bring up later. But just know that anything that you see in this movie, it is dramatized. Like that's no surprise. It's dramatized. It's not
for sure.
one for one accurate. There's things about it that you look at that would never happen in real life. But mostly it's clerical things. Like the actual events themselves, I mean, maybe not as frequently, but they definitely happen like a lot in real life F1. Like crashes happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much every race there's
Yeah.
some kind of crash.
Yeah.
Some races, like I remember there was a couple seasons ago I was watching a Grand Prix and there was like 6 DNFs.
What?
Of the 20 people on the track, like 6 cars crashed out.
I
and
think you said 60. I was
no,
like
six DNFs, which is did not finish, which means you didn't
Okay.
even like cross the finish line.
wow.
Yeah, so that meant like of the 20 racers that started, only 14 cars finished.
Holy crap.
And that's a higher end. You usually don't see that many DNFs, but it can happen. It just
Wow.
happened like a couple seasons ago. Like, so no matter how good your driver is, no matter how cool and awesome and safe your car is that year, situations on the
happen.
track are going to be unpredictable pretty much every time.
Based on conditions,
Yeah.
weather and everything as
So
well.
it gets
temperature.
fucking squirrely out there, and you see people crash a lot. It's not usually severe, but you know, if a crash is enough to take your car out of the race, it probably looks pretty fucking gnarly usually.
Yeah.
Like people spin out and like hit the gravel, and maybe they even roll. And if they roll going slow enough, most of the time you see these guys just like climb out themselves and then get out and like kick the rocks because they're pissed. Like they just flipped overhead in a fucking car like 3 times, and the first thing they do
Should
is
be
get
focused on
mad
like whether they're
that out of
okay
the
or
race.
not. Yeah.
They don't give a shit because that's like they're so routine for them. Like,
What did you think of Damson Idris's character and Javier Bardem and like the supporting cast?
oh yeah, I think everyone did a really good job
Yeah.
in the roles. You know, it's not No Country for Old Men for Javier Bardem. You know,
Oh yeah.
it's not an Anton Chigurh performance. He's not really like busting out all the acting chops that we know he has. But
I felt like he was kind of phoning it in, but like he's such a good actor that like he was kind of he was.
You
fine.
could tell he was still having a pretty good time with it. Like I
Yeah.
liked him and Brad Pitt's chemistry enough.
They had good chemistry. I feel
Yeah.
like there were some other points though where I was like, I feel
Yeah.
like you were kind of like phone, but like he's such a good actor. I don't
Right.
think it's him. Like, and it wasn't bad even. I was just like, I feel like you're such a high caliber. Like, I
He
feel like
is.
you're slightly phoning it in with this performance.
I
at
think he
point.
really is, and I think. I mean, I don't know anything about how Javier Bardem feels about being in the F1 movie, but I just get the sensation that it was a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know,
And he was just like, I was in No Country for Old Men. What is
yeah,
this
like
shit?
yeah, among other things, among various. I mean, he's in Skyfall. He's like one of the coolest Bond villains.
I barely
um,
have like any lines in this. Like my character
Yeah.
really isn't super deep. Like I just don't think he thought too deep into it and kind of just maybe phoning it in is not the right word, but kind of just didn't put like Oscar level.
Like
fucking-
like 110%
Yeah.
effort, or even 100% effort. He just didn't seem like, which is. Again, not a criticism necessarily, because he did what he needed to do for the
And
film.
like you said, their chemistry was really good. Like him
Yeah.
and Brad Pitt, or even him and like Kerry Condon. Like there was
Yeah,
some
yeah,
funny
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
between them and stuff too. Like
Kerry Condon was great.
I did, yeah,
I
I
like
like
Kerry
her
Condon.
character too. Even though like all these things, like we said, are very predictable though. Like the Kerry
Yes.
Condon character.
Oh,
you
the
know where
first
that's
moment she
gonna
was on
go.
screen, I was like, oh, I know
We
exactly
won't
what
say,
she.
but like
I know
I'm
exactly
sure
what her role in the story
the
is.
fact
gonna
that
be.
she's a female, you can kind of just tell where that's going, and the fact that Brad Pitt's the male lead. And then, what did you think of Damson Idris, the other driver?
I liked him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have too many problems with his performance. I did feel like
I feel like I did not like that character.
I was about to say I feel like at times
I was like,
it's
he's
kind of
so like fucking like a little kid, basically. Like,
which they
and-
kind of try to draw attention. to
yeah.
that. They at one point.
I just feel like
Sonny, which is Brad Pitt's character, makes the joke of like, "Oh, your prefrontal cortex isn't developed yet because you're not like old enough." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, the current science says that happens at 25, so I think he's implying that this kid is like younger than 25."
yeah.
I mean, I think Brad Pitt is like his actual age in the movie. He's like nearly 60 or is 60.
Yeah, it seems like
so
that
he is
in that.
much older than this kid in the movie.
Because they joke about him being an old man, being 80. And
exactly.
He's wrinkly a little bit, even though he's still Brad Pitt. And
yeah, he's still fucking handsome as hell.
Blonde still, but it's a little gray in
which
there.
They also make a joke about that in the movie. But no, I think he functioned well for his role in the story. I think he was a character whose actions were meant to make you mad at times. You know what I mean? To make you think. I think it was supposed to kind of align you with like
you thought he was going to be an antagonist, maybe, or something.
No, not an antagonist. Just
no, like they were trying to maybe make you think it was going to go that way, maybe, or something, and then like how it ended up being that like they really did work together at the end.
I don't know about being an antagonist.
The only reason I thought that is because, once again, we'll go into this with the spoilers, but towards the end they introduce a plot element for the Brad Pitt character that like seemed like they were trying to like force some drama in there or something. You might not know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we have to bring it up later.
It was with the Game of Thrones character.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't know if they were trying to go some route where like.
That's funny.
They were trying to maybe pit them again. You know what I mean?
Out of context, that's so funny, yeah.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Because then there was just the points where, like, there was this back and forth between them where they're very, competitive.
I want to talk on that real quick. I think the reason why I was never convinced that they were even trying to do that with him is because this movie is so formulaic that the moment that their relationship was established, like Sonny, Brad Pitt's character, and I think Joshua is his name.
Yeah, Joshua Pierce, I think.
Yeah. As soon as, like, their relationship was established, I could see the path unfolding before my eyes. Like, I could pretty much tell exactly what their character arcs were going to be and how they were just going to end up being, like, good friends and, like, win through teamwork. I
just feel like there was points where I kind of thought that because, like, most of the time I agree with you completely, but then there was these, like, subtle points or, like, small points where I was like, why did they put that? The reason I
just said that is because that's not exactly how the movie goes. It's not. It's not precisely saying that's not a spoiler for the ending because that's not precisely how it goes. Like they have a spin on it, but like in terms of just like the steps that they took to get there, it was pretty predictable.
Yeah, I just hated how the character like there was like those points like this is the reason I also thought like they maybe were trying to do something like I had said because. I felt like there was points where he was just like, "Whoa!" like screaming.
Oh yeah, that was.
And then
there
was like the points where like him and Brad Pitt were talking. You just say something like a dick, and then like be like, feel like that too. And I was just like, well, is this guy like a little psycho or something? Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Did you find that stuff was a little odd, or?
I thought a couple of them were a little, but then I kind of thought about what they were trying to do in the context of the scene. I think most of the time it was like. Him hamming it up for like the media sometimes.
Okay.
I think that was the point they were
like
trying
he didn't
to make.
know how to act almost.
He was just acting a little fake because he was like, "Oh, we got to put on a good show for the cameras."
It was like the struggle of trying to act fake for the cameras, but then also he's like
he is actually like worried about like their performance, but he needs to act like he's not, or at least that's what he thinks.
Okay.
But that wasn't always the case contextually. Sometimes he did just like.
Do it out of nowhere, not for the media. Yeah, exactly.
But most of the time it was, and I think that was the point. So.
Yup.
But
I just thought that stuff was a little weird with the character, and like, I just thought he was like very aggro at like for no reason at some points.
For no apparent reason, yeah.
And I think like,
again, like I said,
I think they added him as like just a way to kind of like add drama.
Yeah.
Here because like, the main problem with the team is that like. Brad Pitt's character is they're not working well together because like it's almost like they both have their ideas of how like the team should be doing things and basically obviously the kind of the whole goal is that like well it shouldn't be your way or his way, it should be like our way, we're all a team,
right?
Like we should all just be working together, which once again is also one of those things where it's like that's kind of very basic, you know what I mean?
They just needed to work together.
Yeah, teamwork
as a team,
is just
guys.
exactly.
That's all they needed to do.
So once again, like very formulaic, very predictable, like we said. So like it's not gonna work for everyone, but like the fact that it worked for like both of us, and then, like I said, that this is my second time seeing it. It's a really good movie. Saw it in drive-in first time. Saw it in IMAX this time. Audio was actually surprisingly better at the drive-in.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
And it was because like we were like able to kind of crank it at the drive-in. We
Right.
actually had like good audio the last time, and we were able to like, you know how in the vehicles you can like move it so that the audio is all going to the back of the vehicle.
Yeah.
We did that too and had the trunk open. Audio sounded amazing at the drive-in. Like
Yeah.
it sounded like it was loud as shit
Yeah.
at points and everything. It was louder than the IMAX.
Like
today.
you were in the car.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is sick. And that's what made me want to see it in IMAX
'cause it
I
gotta
was
be
like,
better.
I thought it was gonna be like a 10 out of 10 with the
Yeah.
audio, but visuals were better in IMAX. It looked amazing. It was 4K and everything, which I don't think it was at the drive-in. Audio was still good, but like was
Not
like
as good.
yeah, not as good as the drive-in. It was like more. I think it probably would have been better if they'd cranked it up because we've been to this theater and they have great audio when it's like.
Dude, I saw Oppenheimer there in IMAX and it
Oh,
made my ears
shit.
bleed.
Yeah, I bet.
Dude, it was fucking crazy.
That was my case with John Wick 4, but like I
Yeah.
loved every minute of it. Like I was just like crank it up to 10.
nuts.
This is
So
fucking
like
awesome.
we know they're capable of doing that, so I'm pretty
Yes.
surprised that wasn't. This was honestly one of the more tame IMAX films audio wise
It was.
that I've seen, which is a shame because F1 cars make really
it's
cool
all
fucking
about
sounds.
the audio.
Yeah.
Like, this movie. So
They
like,
make really cool sounds when they're revving up, dude.
Yeah.
The engine sounds fucking sick.
But pacing wise, even for me, the second time seeing it, like had no problems really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't. It ends up being a non-issue
it has
because
slight problems. It's almost like you feel it for a second
Yeah.
at some points, and then like you start it starts.
which is
getting
good for a
exciting
2.5 hour
again.
long film. That's a long film.
No, it is.
That's a lot. That's a lot of.
And for feeling it
lot
for
of
a
packing.
second, but then for them to really push it again and like have you invested.
I think
like,
that was the thing. Is like I think the first half of the film felt far slower than the second half. Like
Oh,
once
for
once it
sure.
got to the rising action,
Yes.
and like all like the
It goes
plot
by
lines
really
like
quick.
intertwining, it's like whoa, now it's like really picking up, and there's
Yup.
a lot of racing, and there's a lot of dramatic turns. It's really well done, and it's like it's the sprint to the finish is like perfectly
Yeah.
executed. I think it's got like such a satisfying conclusion,
Oh yeah, for sure.
both in how it ends and when it ends. Like
which is once again a formulaic ending, but like it's very satisfying at the
it
same
is, yeah,
time.
it's
like,
actually cool.
Like I really love the ending of this, and like you said, I think it improves as it goes along. Because like the characters, like you start to feel more the camaraderie between the characters and stuff too. I think as it goes along and everything
Yeah.
too. And even though, like I said, I had maybe some problems with Jameson Idris's performance a little bit and stuff at points, I did feel the camaraderie between like him and Brad Pitt, like at the
Yeah,
end and
yeah.
stuff, and like the whole team actually.
Yep.
And like I felt like actual growth from that character and everything.
Mhm.
So I was like, that's good. Like I liked that by the end. Like I was liking that character more, even though I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is he doing at points?
Yeah.
Like he's being very childish. But do you think you want to talk about just the even though we don't give reviews here or our scores here, we talk about the scores and then
Yes.
like say whether we think it's the same or higher or lower.
I was peeking at that.
Do you want to do that and then go into the spoilers?
Yeah, sounds like
Okay.
a plan.
So the general consensus of like the ratings when you average out like the critics and the user scores from like IMDb and Metacritic and all this other stuff is like a 7.9 right now out of 10.
That's a good score.
Yeah. So would you say it's about that, lower, higher? What would you say about like giving a number though?
I'm comfortable with that.
You're comfortable about that?
I might go a little lower.
A little lower.
A little lower.
That's what I would say.
Not much.
Yeah.
I'd trend more towards 7 than 8.
But to me,
Um,
like I said to you, whenever something's over a 7, I would see it again.
Yeah,
And I saw
absolutely,
this
yeah.
again,
That's
so obviously it's
quality,
over a
yeah.
7. But I think it's lower than a 7.9.
I'd say for me, like the way it's always been is like if it's in my mind a 9, it is a classic that I will always
Yes.
rewatch, pretty much ad nauseum until the day I die. It's like one of my favorite films. If it's an 8.
Yes.
I will gladly rewatch that many times, especially if I'm like showing somebody it for the first time. They've never seen it.
Yeah, but
And-
there might be some problem. You might have one or two.
Right,
problems or
and like it
something
might not be
with
for
it.
everybody.
Yeah.
7 is just like the solid, well made. I would see this.
I really
again.
liked it, but there were multiple.
I might not
problems.
revisit it too far in the future, like maybe once every now and then. But
Yeah.
like,
But
but
also
but
when
it's
it's a
still good
7 or
fun.
something, you know, like it would get old if you rewatched it too much.
You know what-
Even
you
though
know
you
what-
would watch it again.
You know a Brad Pitt film that I actually consider to be like an 8 or a 9, and thus one that I rewatch a lot?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No. Well, yes, that's
7?
one. That's one of them. No. Once Upon a Time is one of them, but it's another Brad Pitt film that you might not be able to guess.
Burn After Reading.
Nope.
7.
Nope.
Bullet Train.
Nope.
I'll do one more.
Okay.
And I know it's not gonna be this, but I'm gonna do it for shits and giggles. That fucking cartoon one he was
No.
in or whatever, Cool World or whatever.
No, not that. It's Moneyball.
Oh, I've never seen
it's
that.
the baseball one he was in with Jonah Hill. Moneyball is an amazing film, in my opinion.
Huh.
It is a fucking great film, and I actually kind of want to.
Wasn't that Oscar?
I believe
nominations
so.
and
Yeah,
stuff, at least?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite performances I've ever seen from Brad Pitt. I think it's him at his best,
I'll have
like
to watch
acting wise. It's well written. It makes you like, even if you could not give a shit less about baseball, which I played Little League and I watched a lot of baseball growing up, so I kind of do like baseball, but I don't watch it much anymore. You don't need to care about baseball to watch this movie. Like,
No.
it's really not about that.
Same
it's
thing
about,
with F1.
right?
They kind of drop you into it, I imagine, but like you can infer a lot of the stuff because of how well they wrote it and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I would say like this is 7-ish, 8, like between those two.
Yeah, I agree.
I would put that there. I would watch this
it's
again
lower.
for sure.
It's over a 7 for me, but it's like not that 7.9. It's somewhere between there. I don't know what it would be.
The visual quality of this film gets it a whole like 5 points right off the bat.
Yeah,
like it just looks great. It is a feast for the eyes. It's eye candy 99% of the time. Like,
and I think that was mainly the big thing with Top Gun Maverick that people talked about too. One
last thing I want to bring up, non-spoiler, is something that surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be so surprised since it was Maverick's director.
Okay.
Is the cinematography was absolutely stellar.
Oh, it was fucking great.
Every shot was like really well executed and served the scene incredibly well.
I guess he's gonna be the director of the Miami Vice movie.
Oh no shit, huh?
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
His next upcoming thing, it says. That's it, though.
But that would be my last non-spoiler comment right there. As I just wanted to say, the cinematography really well done, in my opinion.
I agree.
I liked a lot. There was a lot of times where I was like, "Ooh, that's a good shot." Like in my head, I'm like, "Dude,
do you think
that
was because a lot of this was like on location and they went to these different countries and everything?"
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, they didn't really use a set in this movie at all. It feels like they just went wherever the fuck they needed to shoot, and they went there and they did it. And
that really was awesome. Like it's almost something you don't even really think about, but like they did do an amazing job with.
Right.
Because it's basically like setting up like your track from a video game or something. Like you ever played a racing video game or something, basically. But they did a good job with that. But now I think we're gonna go in the spoiled it territory.
Yes.
So we're give you a minute. We'll give you a second to walk.
I don't anticipate this will be long.
We'll give you a second to walk out. Thank you for watching. If you're gonna leave, but we hope you stay and you've seen the movie. If not, we understand though. But this is spoiled it.
Warning.
Not much to spoil here, but there are some things to talk about that some people might consider spoilers, even though I don't. One thing I guess that's a spoiler is the fact that Kerry Condon's character, like we mentioned earlier, is the love interest for Brad Pitt.
Right, yeah.
And like you just know that's gonna happen
immediately. I looked at Leon and I was like,
it goes down exactly the way you think it's gonna happen too, where she's like, I told you I wouldn't sleep with a coworker, blah 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 blah, cut. Fucking him slamming her against the wall. Fucking,
yeah, in the elevator.
And then another cut to a fountain outside. Exploding.
When you pointed that out, I was crying.
Yeah.
I was like, no way.
I didn't notice that the first time. It was this time. I was like,
the overt sexual imagery. Yeah, it's
for some reason I remember there being
is
like
this PG-13?
They said fuck 2 times.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's PG-13, right?
I know.
How'd they get away with that?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, because in both times.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm gonna double check that though.
Both times that they.
PG-13.
That's crazy. Both times that they used their allotted F-bomb.
I think I have heard 2 F-bombs in other PG-13 movies though. It's very rare though. Maybe it's that like if there's like not much violence,
or if it's a certain length.
I don't know.
Maybe if it's long
maybe
enough.
It is.
Maybe it's like
maybe it's either by length or by like I'm thinking like if there's other things like action or like all that sort of stuff.
Maybe
it's
like
this was racing.
Maybe it's like one.
They're like fine, you get 2 F-bombs since there's no like.
What if it's like 1 fuck per hour?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because so if a movie was like less than 2 hours long, you'd only get 1 fuck. But if you're over 2 hours long, you get 2. If you're over 3, you get 3. And if for some reason you're over 4, you get 4. You looking up the
Yeah.
policy right now? But anyway, one of them is Carrie Condon, who drops the first F-bomb at one point when she's like chewing out Brad Pitt's character.
It says it can be said 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
No one ever does that, huh?
I know.
Maybe the more you do it, the
says
more.
Any movie with more than 3 F-bombs likely can't remain PG-13. The McMahon said, which I guess is like the head of
McMahon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. You never really see any PG-13.
McMahon or yeah, that probably is.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce that.
But yeah, I feel like I've never heard it more than twice.
Yeah.
So that's insane that more people don't use that. But yeah,
Usually
this
they
movie
do it
did twice, I think. I don't think it was 3 times.
Yeah,
Because
it was
what,
twice.
Brad Pitt said it,
And Carrie Condon.
and then Carrie Condon said it.
It was, but Carrie Condon did it first,
Yup.
and then Brad Pitt like 40 minutes later, and he's like, "Fuck him." It was pretty funny hearing him say that out of the blue. I was like, because especially because like you said, Carrie Condon already said one. I was like, oh, there's their like allotted one F-bomb.
I didn't notice it the first time, and then I was like, wait, what?
And then
like,
Brad
this
Pitt just like
time?
whips it out. I'm like, wait a minute, I did not expect that.
Yeah.
Like they already used one.
I know.
So
I
that
was
was
thinking the
funny.
same exact thing, bro. But then the other spoiler is the fact that Damson Idris's character like possibly dies at one point, like big scene where the whole theater gets quiet, like this crash that you're like, oh, he's not recovering from that. Like,
and that
Brad Pitt stops the race and gets out of his car and fucking give me a fire extinguisher and fucking puts it out himself and pulls him out.
So I didn't speak to it specifically, but that is one of those scenes where it's like, it might seem so contrived, like that car burst into flames and like exploded, and he emerged with just some burns on his hands.
It did for me the first time, but
the suits
talking to you about it and other people like since then and everything, it makes sense.
The suits and everything that they wear are so flame retardant.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. Like,
and he did have you gotta get the skin graft and everything still, so it was a really bad crash.
You know that like head sock that they wear? It like covers almost everything besides like this part of their face.
Yeah.
It's both to make it easier to slip the helmet on and off, and that's also fire retardant material. So it covers most of your face. The helmet's fire retardant. Your suit and gloves and everything are fire retardant.
That must
so
be
it's
fucking
like
terrifying though. Like,
oh, it is, yeah.
Being him in the car, like, and that whole thing was just on fire, like,
so there's
blown up. You're like just sitting in there like an inferno.
There's a very famous crash from years ago where I forget which Grand Prix it was, and I forget what year it was, but this driver like flipped and his car burst into flames, and it was on fire for like 3.5 minutes while they were trying to like get it out, and then he ended up literally climbing out of the car himself because he was still alive and still conscious, and just got up out of the flaming car and walked away from it and then laid down while they sprayed him with fire extinguishers. He wasn't really on fire, but he was just like hot.
Damn.
And I guess like he emerged with just like some second-degree burns. No other injuries, but he said like the reason that he got up and got out is cuz he realized he had been in the flaming car for a while and he didn't want his mom to worry.
Jeez.
So then because he knew he should be watching him on TV, so he's like, I had to get out so my mom saw I was okay.
What a good dude.
And I was so like, that's the thing. It's like, even though that crash with Damson Idris's character is like really fucking crazy and like looks 100% fatal.
Probable.
Like if you saw that, you're like, they're dead, right?
Yeah.
Not so much. Like those cars and the suits are so safe that it's actually
But the
feasible.
movie was trying to make you think that too, because like I said, it got quiet. Like the whole movie went quiet. It was like
because it easily can be. Like depending on how you hit the ground, you might have just snapped your neck.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like so they didn't know until they got him out that he was
scary
gonna be okay.
right before you know that they're okay. Yeah, exactly.
As easily as that crash could be survivable, it could also be completely fatal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just is. It comes down to luck at that point, and he got lucky.
Pretty much. Especially like because from what you're saying, he did get more damage than some people do. Like, cause
he had to recover. He had to take a few races off because of the burns on his hands, which is pretty. That's pretty like realistic, I'd say. Because like what could have happened is while he was flipping through the air, and when he hit the ground, maybe like part of his suit tore.
Yeah.
You know, like something caught and something ripped, and the flames got inside and burned his hands while the rest of his body was okay. Like that could easily happen.
Yo.
Like maybe his sleeve got caught on the shifter when he crashed and just got ripped open.
True. And then we had that Game of Thrones character we mentioned.
I always forget his name.
The villain here. And I just thought that was like... I don't know.
He was funny to laugh at.
Yeah, he was funny to laugh at. But
Like, he
that
was just,
character
like-
was really stupid though.
He was just so like
pathetic.
he gave like scheming eunuch vibes. Like he just kind of was this like pathetic loser, like
Yeah.
rich investor dude who just kind of was like
he has no friends. Like
no
he's
friend,
trying to
nobody
cut-
likes him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's also trying to set the team up to fail so that he can sell it and make a lot of money. Like that's kind of like his. It's kind of like it's like a pump and dump scheme
I can't even find him
essentially.
in the fucking cast, dude.
in like the credits.
Yeah.
Which I guess wasn't like the worst thing in the world. So that was the other thing that I wanted to talk about pertaining to this character is like at one point he offers Sonny, Brad Pitt's character, he's like, "Oh, hey,
Basically,
like,
run the team.
come run the next team when this team gets sold and like I make you rich, we can like win the championship, blah 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 blah." And at that point, like Sonny's intuition tells him that because like earlier in the film before this, like I guess the modifications they made to their car get like recalled because like somebody within the organization leaked that they might have been made using parts from outside of like the FIA's like approved parts list.
And he's like, "That was you."
And he's
wasn't
like,
it?"
"You fucking forged those so the team would get sabotaged and get sold,
Yeah,
right?" And he's like,
I'm a
"Yeah,
winner."
I'm a winner,
Just like
aren't
you.
you?" Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, you're a winner, bud. Yeah.
But I liked that scene both for Sonny, it portraying Sonny's like loyalty to the team,
True.
but also because it does also follow like the Yojimbo, like because you know what else is like a retelling of fucking Yojimbo? Mad Max 2 Fury Road.
Oh, really?
That's got literally the same fucking Mad Max. He's a wanderer of the wasteland. He
No, it's
shows
not
up
Fury
as-
Road. That's
Oh no, Mad Max Road Warrior.
Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Fury Road's 4.
Yeah, I got my roads mixed
I
up.
got my Mad Maxes mixed up.
I got my
I got
roads
the 2
mixed
best
up.
Mad Maxes mixed up.
But yeah, in Road Warrior, he shows up just as an outsider.
Yeah.
He has to help them against his will, and then he ends up, after temporarily leaving, chooses to come back and help them. That's literally what he does. He's like, remember, he doesn't go to Abu Dhabi with them.
Yeah.
He doesn't even join the team on the trip, but then he buys his own flight there,
Yeah.
and he just shows up
Surprise,
at the facility.
surprise.
Yeah. It's literally the same thing. You're like, oh, well, there he goes. He's not going to be on the team anymore. And the whole time I'm like, okay. Like, he's definitely just going to show up and be like, nah, I'm going to drive.
Yeah, exactly.
And Javier Bardem's going to be like, no. And then he's
All
going to say,
right.
and then he's going to say, yes, that's literally what happens.
He's gonna get him to laugh.
That's literally what happens. Like, that was
Like, come
that
on,
was one of
we're
the corniest
We're
scenes in the film.
we're bros. Come on.
I will say that's one of the biggest things that is absolutely not real. Sonny Mays like taking over.
Well, I
and
think
like
that was
just
another
telling,
weird thing that
telling
they
the
added
team
to this
no.
film was like that was kind of weird, or like kind of just not needed. And then the other thing that was not needed because they just didn't ultimately do anything with it was like him like. I think they had mentioned it because of the doctor's appointment, but he's like, you could possibly lose your vision and everything. And then remember after that, he was like, oh, and he started like seeing stuff with the vision a little bit, but then they didn't do anything of that, and he ultimately won. And I was just like,
he just shook it
so
off.
what was the point of? Okay, that was,
I guess the point is he was just taking a risk doing that.
yeah, it was
But
just
it wasn't
supposed to
like-
add tension, I guess.
Yeah, like it showcased that like he wasn't 100%, that he was taking a big risk doing it, but then it paid off.
But it really didn't add any. I think it was supposed to add tension, but it really didn't because ultimately
Right.
this movie was so formulaic. You knew he was gonna.
I kept
win.
wondering like during the celebration scene after he wins the race, I was like,
Is it gonna have some?
I was like, oh, is it
ending
gonna
where
have
he-
like some
yeah.
like, oh, he actually like got fucked up and now he's in the hospital or some
That's
shit?
what I thought was maybe gonna happen. Where
But no,
like there's still a repercussion kind of to his actions, but he did like what he ultimately wanted in the end.
Yeah, and then he just goes back on his merry way, like doing.
I'm gonna
odd
do
jobs.
Baja now.
Yeah, which is like I honestly.
I'm gonna go to McDonald's.
I'm
and
not
then
too
do
sad
Baja.
about it ending idyllic like that. Like, oh
yeah, no, that
right,
was
he
fine.
literally rides off into the sunset.
And they
like,
teased that at the beginning, like it's like he was planning for that to be his next thing, and then Javier Bardem found him.
Right.
So like that was gonna be his next thing anyway, and then just
Yep.
Javier Bardem fucking got him to do that for a little bit. But
Now I'm trying to think of something else because I knew there was something else I wanted to bring up spoiler
for
wise.
spoiler wise, we talked about the love interest, we talked about the villain,
Oh,
we talked about the crashes.
do you remember in one of the races when he was like continually breaking his own front wing to cause a safety car?
Safety cars,
And he
come
would have
out.
to pit and get it fixed and go
Yeah,
back
like 3
out.
times.
And I told you like, oh, like surely like there's no way that that this is like blah blah blah. Oh no, it wasn't even that scene. It was it was when he actually crashed and the fucking red flag happened, which meant they had to reset the whole race with 3 laps left to go, and everyone keeps their current positions. And I remember like telling you, and he was like, "A miracle! This is a miracle." It was like Javier Bardem's character
freaking out.
Yeah, Ruben. and I looked at you and I was like, this might seem like Hollywood magic again. It's not like.
But that was the thing. That was kind of like history. Yeah.
Yeah, because like there was a few years ago. So Max Verstappen, who's they say his name a few times in the film, and he's in a couple scenes.
Yeah.
He's a Dutch driver for Red Bull, and he's young. He's like younger than us. But he was even younger when he first started racing. He was like 20, like 19 or 20. He was like one of the youngest F1 drivers ever. And then he went on a tear of winning championships, like back to back to back to back. But the first one he won, which was when he dethroned Lewis Hamilton, was him and Lewis Hamilton's scores were so close at the end of the season that the Abu Dhabi race victor legitimately decided who won the championship that year.
The fuck?
If he came in first, he won, or if he came ahead of Verstappen, he won. If Verstappen came ahead of him, he won. So like that was it. That was deciding who won the race. And like near the end of it, with like 2 or 3 laps to go, Verstappen was in second behind Lewis Hamilton, and there were like lapped cars between them because they were so far ahead, and there was a red flag. Like it looked like he was screwed because Max Verstappen's tires were fucked and like he couldn't pit. And then there was a red flag. He was in second with lapped cars behind him, or in front of him, and between him and Lewis Hamilton in first. So there was a red flag. They reset the race, and they make it so the lapped cars let everyone pass that are in higher places than them. So then when the race reset, it put Max Verstappen on fresh tires right behind Lewis Hamilton. Instead of being 4 cars behind him on old tires.
Yeah.
And he proceeded to beat him in the stretch on like the second to last lap, and then he coasted to victory and he won.
Holy shit.
Because of a red flag, which is exactly what happens to them in the film to put Joshua in the position to win.
And nothing like ever really seemed like even like the things that were a little bit crazier, like that maybe seemed like you said Hollywood bullshit.
Yep.
It like I think this movie like seemed like what they knew what they were doing with so much of it that like ultimately, even at the time when you first see it, it might seem like Hollywood bullshit.
Right.
Like ultimately you're like, okay, like that actually makes sense. Like because you're following so much of like what is based on F1 in reality.
It is pretty much a Cinderella story, but it's like a pretty feasible Cinderella story. Like it has happened. It not just could happen. It has happened in almost the exact same way. It's just. Maybe not all at once to the same team.
True.
Like all of these like incredibly insane and sometimes fortunate, sometimes tragic things happening to one team in one season in the course of like 10 races. That's pushing it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy, but like that's it. That's really the only part of it that's like a little unbelievable. But it could still happen.
Movie shit. Like,
exactly.
You just kind of have to do that in a movie.
That's how they build the drama.
Yeah, that too.
So ultimately, yeah, I really like the introduction of his character. That was a cool scene.
Right.
Well, that's something we didn't talk about. Set the opening scene of like
a whole lot of love.
Of
yeah,
Sonny being like introduced
too.
as a badass driver is just him listening to a whole lot of love.
Same thing with the soundtrack. Like even though it's not my cup of tea, like for music I usually listen to,
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. Like there's a couple songs that like I like and I've added to like my playlists. Like only 2, but
yeah.
But I think one's like literally the main theme basically of the movie. Like you hear it in the background a lot of the time, like an instrumental version.
Yeah, and that's the Hans Zimmer one.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Hans Zimmer's score is great as always.
Yep. Everyone knew that was gonna be the case. But yeah, Led Zeppelin was pretty fucking. Whole Lot of Love was badass in the beginning. It was a great way to open the movie. It's not. I actually, from what I remembered, I thought it was literally the opening, but it basically is. But there's a little bit more with like him like almost having like those dreams or whatever where he's seeing like the racing, like him right before he crashes, and then like he's seeing like the waves and the Baja stuff too.
Yeah.
I think that's like supposed to be his dreams or something, right? But then it had like this weird like VHS kind of like it was kind of weird.
Like it was like a helmet cam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the one last thing I think we should address, the card. Remember?
Oh, yeah. So one thing that they show you from the very beginning is that, like, Sonny, his character, Brad Pitt's character, he's, like, The
Always got this
storyline
deck of
is that he used to be
cards.
like a gambler, like professional gambler
Yup.
after his first stint at racing, and then he just like he went into a bunch of debt doing that, and then he started racing again, but just like for odd jobs.
Yep.
And I guess his tradition is like he always reaches into his deck of 52 cards and he pulls out a card and he like stuffs it somewhere in his racing suit as a like good luck charm.
But they never show what it is, the number, right?
And he never looks either.
Huh.
Because remember, like Joshua was like, "How come you never look at the card?"
So he doesn't look.
No, he doesn't
Okay.
look. He doesn't look. And my theory as to why he doesn't look and why he looks at the end of the movie, and they still don't show you what the card is because I think he did that, and then one day when he finally won a race in F1, he would look at it and see what the lucky number is.
Yeah.
So he was pulling completely at random and putting the card in,
Yeah.
but then he wouldn't look until he won.
Okay.
And even though he wasn't in F1 anymore when he was doing odd jobs and stuff, he just kept doing it.
And then we were talking about like what the number maybe is, like, because he kind of like laughs a little bit, and we were thinking it's probably 9 because like they talk about like at the beginning.
That's why they call me Lucky Number 9. Like that's
Yeah.
when he's first joining the
Yeah.
team. Yeah,
So,
and he
like-
says that kind of as a joke.
Yeah, that was another thing I caught like the second time seeing this, so I thought that was cool too.
That is a little interesting bit of show don't tell
Yeah.
filmmaking that I appreciated because it really is up for interpretation. It could be anything.
It could have said number 1 or something.
Yeah,
and finally got first.
Yeah,
Like,
it could be
you
like an
know,
ace. Yeah,
exactly. So, but I think that pretty much wraps it up for this one today. Thank you so much for watching Pose. Thanks for joining me, Dan.
Yeah,
As
of course.
always, I appreciate it.
Go see F1.
Yeah,
Especially if you like
definitely
cars.
check it out in IMAX while you still can, and check it out in theaters while you still can,
It's worth
because
it. It's a good time.
not on streaming yet. Most movies go up like 3 weeks after they're in theaters. I know Superman and a bunch of other movies, Jurassic World and shit, already have, but this has not, even though it came out before those.
And I like F1 better than most racing because it's not just a circle. They actually have to turn.
Yes,
Which makes
not NASCAR.
which makes it really treacherous and crazy.
Yup. So like,
not
if you're
hating on
not, even if
NASCAR,
you're not
but-
into it, just know you can be someone like me that doesn't know anything about this stuff, and like they can get you invested into this world.
They'll give you just enough knowledge to be like, okay, I understand kind of what they're going for here.
And even if it doesn't, like at the baseline, we think you'll like it at least.
Absolutely,
So go
yep.
check it out. Even if you don't want to check it out in theaters, it's not sounding entirely what's going to scratch your itch. It should be on streaming eventually, and it's an Apple TV Plus film, so it's going to
Nice.
definitely be on there, I'm sure, pretty soon too. But yeah, thanks for watching, Pose. As always, like and subscribe on our retro-TAINMENT YouTube page, which is where Two Pose in a Pod episodes get posted, and also follow Two Pose in a Pod on all the podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much all of them. I don't know the other ones, but we're signed up for them, so probably getting like 1 million views on them, but we're not even checking them. But we have the RSS feed; they all get uploaded. So if I didn't mention the podcast platform, check it out. It's probably on there. But thank you, Pose. We love you. As always, we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, bro. See, that's why I said it. That's why I said maybe an hour because I had a feeling.